What's up, guys? My name is TJ Palmy. Recently, my friends and I have been just kind of wondering about the U.S. relations with China and how we fit into China's lives and how they fit into our lives. My buddies Ben, Charlie, and I will be traveling around visiting with various experts in an attempt to gain a better understanding on the history, present relations, and the United States' future with China.
Yeah, we don't know very much right now. The two world powers in the world are China and the United States economically. However, one of these countries is in $15 trillion of debt, 10% of that being owed to China. So, right now it's
Don't
about...
hang up on...
Dude, be quiet. I'm trying to record this, all right?
Okay.
All right?
Okay, I was about to make a call, but I won't. I won't.
It's all good.
I won't, my
But
bad.
yeah, that's about all we know about China right now. We're just trying to get a better knowledge of this, so that's what we're going to do. Right, guys?
All right.
Let's do this. Alright, we're in D.C. right now. Guy just passed me. Thought we might as well visit some important people that know they know what they're talking about. Do I go this way?
Yeah, I think so.
Friend landed an interview with a guy named James Landry. He's the former CIA head of the CIA in Asia. So we're gonna talk to him.
China, Ben.
It's
China.
Asia.
Okay.
But good try. We're gonna talk to him a little bit about the U.S. relations with China, what China's like, what they think that we're like. Just trying to get some information out of them. See how it goes. I'm kind of nervous. Since September 11th, America has seemed almost locked in a war on terror. But while focusing on the attacks of 9/11, America was and has been focusing on a new and arising conflict, an undeclared war, but one that is a top priority for the Intelligence Committee for the White House. The Chinese threat is America's new war. They have a term called comprehensive national power, which is the economic, political, military. Chinese people say that it is their time to rise up, overpower other governments, become strong while other countries are in a crisis. They surround themselves with the idea that their economic situation is the best in the world. Winning the battle without firing a bullet is a motto that I heard from a guy a long time ago, which basically is, overpowering other countries without going to war and doing it through genius economic situations. They're very cautious, but they're willing to fight.
Alrighty, so we're just here in the car on our way to visit Hinsong Liu, who is the Chinese political ambassador, and he's just going to give us kind of a little reference or point of view of how the Chinese view us, and it's going to be pretty interesting. Like Ben was earlier, I'm kind of a little nervous to talk to this guy, but hopefully it'll go well.
There are three first-class countries. One is the United States, another is the United States of Europe, then the Great China. As for the United States, they shall remain world power. The chance of China becoming as great of power as the U.S. is very slim, but I do think that China and U.S. relations will be very important. Over time, these relations will define the nature of international relations in the 21st century.
When we come back, we'll discuss our debt with China and what might happen in the future because of it.
Bad boys, what you want?
What a lot of people aren't necessarily aware of is that the vast majority of our debt is owed to ourselves. In total, China owns about 8% of publicly held U.S. debt. Of all the holders of U.S. debt, China is the third largest, behind only the Social Security Trust Fund holdings of nearly $3 trillion and the Federal Reserve's nearly $2 trillion holdings in Treasury investments, purchased as part of its quantitative easing program to boost the economy. To put China's ownership of U.S. debt in perspective, it's holding $1.2 trillion. It's even larger than the amount owned by American households. U.S. citizens hold only about $959 billion in U.S. debt, according to the Federal Reserve.
The rise of China will be undoubtedly one of the greatest dramas of the 21st century. China's extraordinary economic growth and active diplomacy are already transforming Eastern Asia, and future decades will see even greater increases in Chinese power and influence. As China gets more powerful and the United States' position erodes, two things are likely to happen. One, China will try to use its growing influence to reshape the rules and institutions of the international system to better serve its interests. And two, other states in the system will start to see China as a growing security threat.
Up next, Ben, Charlie, and I will give our final opinions on U.S. relations with China.
This country needs a president that has good moral values, a strong political background, and fiscal responsibility.
The lack of leadership in the United States in the past few years is something that needs to be taken care of.
When elected, this candidate will put the U.S. back where it's supposed to be.
I pull up in my whip, see this little shawty, roll down my window, just so I can talk to that girl. That girl, that girl, that girl, that girl. Her body was a hater, she said she a late, bruh. She had them.
Alrighty, so Ben, what have you all learned in this whole experience?
I don't know. I've gained more of an appreciation for China, I guess you could say. Before making the documentary, I kind of thought of them as like a bunch of nerds, people who wanted to overpower the United States, but they really contribute to our country's needs by making and producing a lot of things that we use. I realize that we owe them a lot of money and whatnot, but I've also learned that we're not in as big of trouble as I thought we were, because China's also in some trouble economic-wise. So.
Yeah. All right. So as far as predictions go, like, what do you think's going to happen in the future? Like, if you were to make a prediction for what's going to happen, next 15, 20 years, do you think possible war, or what are you thinking?
I don't think war. I think it's fairly obvious that our country doesn't want war, and I think the next president will do anything they can to stay away from that. And I don't think, China's obviously a threat, but not as big of a threat, like, that we need to worry about them. Mm-hmm. So I don't think much will happen. We'll still remain the number one power, I believe.
All right.
Okay, so TJ, thanks. After this documentary, what are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are that right now China's kind of on the up and coming. They're in a really good spot right now economically, where the U.S. is kind of having some issues. And I think that it's pretty natural for everyone in the world to kind of be looking at China. Are they going to surpass the U.S. economically? Is this going to be something that happens? But I think I kind of agree with what you said earlier, that it's just kind of a phase. I think the U.S. will still remain the number one world power. And yeah, I don't see war happening. I don't see any wars really happening anymore because, the outcomes are just too severe for really the world to handle. But yeah, so I think it's just kind of a phase. China's just kind of up and coming right now, and hopefully it's just U.S. all from here.
Okay, thanks, Teach. All right, so Charlie, what do you think about after doing the documentary? What do you think about the U.S. relations with China?
I think the main thing we need to worry about with China is their economy is so big, it could overpower ours in the future. After talking to the people we met with, I learned that they seem to be a lot more ambitious of a country than ours.
Yeah.
I think that if our country finds more motivation to do good things, then we could end up on the rise again at some point, just like China. USA all the way.